Speaking of anecdotes and lines which keep you going, ye dil mange more. Just imagine, you've come back from a mission which was successful. Most such officers or jawans are pulled back and you send a second team out because they've just gone, risked their lives, come back. You give them some break, you allow them to recuperate. And Captain Vikram Batra wasn't like that. Not just was he sent, I think it was by Colonel Joshi at that time, he also wanted to go. You've just baal bach ke wapis aaye, and here's this young man who's telling the country, ye dil mange more.
So 5140 was the peak that he had won. And these were some of the initial victories in Kargil. Very difficult ones, Rahul, because the Pakistanis were very well entrenched. So 5140 happened, Tololing happened, the entire country knew about ye dil mange more. And in that operation, because they were exposed to the weather, they'd given up their woolens just to be able to climb. He had fever. Vikram Batra had fever. So he was supposed to go down for R&R, rest and recuperation. But he heard on the wireless the two teams that had gone for .4875, which was later known as Gun Hill and now Batra Top. The teams that went up, they couldn't reach the top. Somewhere down the line, the Pakistanis had their machine guns so effectively deployed that every advance was being pushed back and casualties were happening. So this is the time he volunteered. He said, I know the lay of the land. I am acclimatized. The new team will take time. I know what will happen. And then Colonel, now General YK Joshi, he kept saying, no, you need to rest, you need to rest. He said, I'm the only one who can do it. And actually, he was the only one who could do it. He went up despite the fever. He was a brave heart. I mean, it's in your DNA. You're built, you're meant to do it. He knew he would do it. And he was able to break through the cordon, get to the last bunker, lob the grenade, fire at the Pakistanis, destroy it. Unfortunately, that's the time, very heavy bombardment from the other side and a very accurate machine gun fire took him down. But not before he captured that place and in short. No, what happens is the moment you capture, the enemy mounts a counter attack. So you not only capture that point, then you turn everything around to be able to beat back the counter attack. And this is where leadership really matters. And his leadership mattered at that point of time, Rahul.
So what's the most dangerous thing, Gaurav, that's ever happened to you as a war reporter?
So Shiv and I were together in Libya. We entered Libya illegally without telling you because you would have said no. We had our visa for Egypt. We tried to get into Libya legally and we couldn't. So one night Shiv and I said, we can't come to Egypt and then go back. With the Bedouins, we actually crossed a part of the Sahara Desert in the middle of the night with them, with some others, with $10,000, $5,000 each in our pocket, without a visa, without knowing where we were going. And if somebody had killed us and buried us in the desert, we wouldn't have known. But we managed to get inside. We managed to get to Ras Lanuf. We got strafed by Colonel Gaddafi's Air Force, the rebels, but we survived.
Gaurav ek din marwayega, I'll tell you why. He had gone to Ukraine. Mercifully, his wife Aditi is not here right now. And he told her some other story, okay? About where he was and what he was doing. And of course, I knew where he was. And where Aditi called me and said, wahan pe hai Gaurav, something basically about getting away. And I was about to tell her that I'm telling him the same thing, just leave Kiev and get out. And ye maan hi nahi raha hai. He's telling her that Rahul's got me over there, wo jaan hi nahi de raha. I'm like, that's not true. And the problem is, you do this in school when, for example, you've gone off with a particular girl without telling your parents, and then, that happened like in the army public school some 20 years ago. Oh, exactly same wali feeling आई. I said, इसने अपनी बीवी को कुछ बताया है, और वो मुझे phone करके पूछ रही है. And if I reveal the truth, then he's had it, and more importantly, I've had it. So anyway, somehow it clicked at that instance. Gaurav's back in one piece, and that's what matters most. Shiv, tell us your wildest story.
Both Gaurav and I had emails 11 days after entering Libya from our families saying, why the hell didn't you tell us you're going to Libya? And this was an era before smartphones, so there was no WhatsApp, no 4G, 5G, there was no G itself, there was nothing. And so we didn't have any connectivity anywhere. But just two small incidents which I'll tell you about what happened to us in Libya. both Gaurav and I got quote unquote kidnapped separately on 2 separate occasions, and we both got out of them in exactly the same way. So Rahul, what happened was, look, Libya is like this obscure country. I don't think anybody would go to Libya in their lifetime unless it is for work, or you have some, or you're a smuggler, or you're an ISIS terrorist, or something like that. Otherwise, you're not going to go there. Okay? Rahul was a good enough boss to actually send Gaurav and me there during the war. So there was this, the Indian ambassador to Egypt had basically told Gaurav and me, you guys shouldn't go to Libya. Just stay here. It's nice here. I'll give you a room. Relax here. You tell your office you went there and they sent you back. But Gaurav and me, being the journalists we are, we crossed illegally, like he said. So promptly 5 days later, Gaurav got kidnapped. Okay. And so I had no idea where Gaurav was for 48 hours. No phones, no WhatsApp. Just imagine a world without WhatsApp, guys, for 1 second. Okay? No contact. I have no idea where he is. I don't know where to go because everyone speaks Arabic. He had forgotten the magic word that the ambassador had taught him, saying, if you are in a tight spot with people, just remember these 2 words, Sahafi al-Hind, which means Indian journalist in Arabic. And he finally remembered it on day 2, and he said it to those guys, and they let him go. And the reason why that's a big deal is because in that part of the world, if you say you're from India, you become like a hero. They're like, my God, why would you leave India, that beautiful democratic paradise, to come to this narak, this horrible place? And that too as a journalist. So he did that. He got free. I got like abducted separately. I remembered it. I said it. They fed the both of us really well. They took us to their houses. It's a different story that those people who kidnapped us now are probably ISIS terrorists themselves. But yeah, it was fabulous.
You see how he's smiling. You realize the problem. When we were talking about, what makes somebody courageous or do crazy things, depending on how you see it, look at how he's smiling. This is when his family is concerned, his father, his mother, his wife, daughter, and he's like smiling. And that really is the Josh. Rahul, what's the toughest situation that you've been in?
Well, I've never been kidnapped or shot at.
You need to spend more time with these guys.
But
they'll find a way of getting you there.
I'll tell you an interesting incident which actually shows the kind of work we do and the kind of work our soldiers do. So this was 2008. I was reporting out of Congo for a few weeks. General Bipin Rawat was then the brigade commander over there. And I was traveling extensively, and I was with this army detachment at a place called Nyaragongo, which is right next to the Virunga National Park. So you have the active volcano on one side, and you have Lake Kivu on the other side. And our forces were the buffer zone between General Laurent Kunda's private general's forces and the Congolese forces. So our job was to keep them away, buffer zones, 2 kilometers, 3 kilometers, 4 kilometers. So and we were sleeping in tents over there. I was staying with this unit, I think it was 6, Chesik. And we had these, anti-aircraft guns booming, bullets flying all around. And there was a massive earthquake at night. And I was in the tent with a young major. So I think his name was Saurabh, if I remember rightly. I said, Saurabh, do something. What should we do? He said, sir, go back to sleep. If we run this way, there's an active volcano. It's going to explode. If we go that way, there's Lake Kivu, which is also known as an exploding lake. So, it can let out a lot of poisonous gases, which are trapped over there. So he says, either way, we have no choice. So this is the kind of, part of the experiences one has had as a defense writer, reporter.